So I wanted to talk about that. You brought up Turkey and Sweden. Now let's remember the U.S. Senate overwhelmingly voted to put Sweden in NATO. Again, this is all provocations of Russia. I'm here with Max Blumenthal, by the way, who will be with us this Friday and Saturday in Baltimore at Magooby's Comedy Club. If you've never seen Max do stand-up, it is amazing. I'm not kidding. It defies the laws of comedy. Come see him this Friday and Saturday. He'll be with me and Steph doing stand-up comedy. Go to jimmydore.com. But I'm just trying to remind people that the Senate did vote to approve Sweden to join NATO. And every time they do this, this is a provocation to Russia. We promised Russia we wouldn't expand 1 inch to the east, and now we've put in like 12 or 14 nations into NATO since the fall of the Berlin Wall. That was Reagan's promise to Gorbachev that we wouldn't expand NATO, and we're expanding NATO all over the place. And as Chomsky already showed you in our last clip, NATO is not there as a defensive organization. It was originally supposed to be there to defend people against the Russian Empire. There is no Soviet Union anymore. So there's nothing to defend against. This is just an aggressive military organization that is implementing imperialism and creating wars and conflicts over energy. That's all this is. So they all voted for it, except for Rand Paul and Josh Hawley. But now Turkey backs Sweden's NATO membership. Now Turkey is. Now what? So a lot of people are like, oh, that's great that Turkey's backing. The only way the expansion was able to take place is because Turkey was appeased in its oppression of the Kurds. So if you're celebrating this as some huge triumph for the safeguarding of human rights and democracy, you're a scumbag of the highest order. Wow. So let me bring in Max Blumenthal, who knows way more about all this stuff than I do. What would you like to say about this?
There's too much to say in such a short time, but Sweden has a very complex history with the Kurds and with Turkey. It's been a haven for Kurdish radicals, but it's also been a country that has tried to maintain good ties with Turkey. And its prime minister, who was one of the towering figures of the social democratic left of Western Europe, Olof Palme, when he was assassinated in 1986, many suspected the PKK, the Kurdish militant organization, was responsible because he had such close ties with Turkey. But he also was the first European leader to open ties to the Palestinian Liberation Organization and to the Nelson Mandela's African National Congress. So there's theories that the Mossad and Afrikaner extremists had assassinated him. In any case, you can draw a straight line between the assassination of Olof Palme and the accession of Sweden to NATO membership, because Palme kept Sweden neutral. He understood that he had to have good ties with countries around the world, including the Soviet Union, which was right there. Russia was right there. Same with Finland. They had always had this historic neutrality, and that has been broken with this war because the local leadership in Sweden and Finland, they're so nervous about their hold to power. There's no left holding them back from this anymore in those countries. It's been obliterated, and they have to turn across the Atlantic to the United States and its military power just to hold their tenuous control over their populations and to continue exporting weapons. People think of Sweden as this peaceful country. It's one of the top 10 weapons exporters in the world. And then we should also talk about Japan. NATO tried to establish a command center in Japan at this summit. How is Japan part of the North Atlantic? And that's a point that was made by none other than Emmanuel Macron of France. He rejected that because he said this is getting us too far away from defending the North Atlantic or France. It really shows you what NATO is. It is a mechanism for global imperial control of the United States. It has nothing to do with a defensive alliance. And it wasn't just Noam Chomsky. It was George Kennan who launched the national security state under Truman. It was Jack Matlock who was ambassador to the Soviet Union under George H.W. Bush. It was William Burns, who's the current CIA director, who warned that NATO expansion was fueling war with Russia. That expansion took place because neither side was willing to fight militarily, but Russia has decided it will not allow NATO to expand to Ukraine, and that's why it sent its forces in February 2022. And if NATO continues to expand into the Pacific Rim around China, We're going to see a conflict there. We will see global world war. NATO is the enemy of humanity.
NATO is definitely the enemy of humanity. NATO is the world's terrorists. And who is that? That's us. And it is mental what's going on. Is people still think America's the good guys somehow? There is no bigger murderous organization than the U.S. military and our Congress and president. It's just unprecedented. Nothing will ever come close to it.
And just bringing it home for any American, whatever you are, unless you're really rich and you don't care, your tax dollars are going to NATO to fund militaries in these social democracies in Europe, which have universal health care.
That's right.
Universal child care. They have incredible family leave in the Scandinavian nations. And we have none of that, but we're paying for that. We're paying for them to defray the costs of funding their military so they can have that social democracy. That's what NATO does to us. So we should reject NATO just on the basis of our kitchen table needs here in the U.S.
100%. I was going to play this, but I don't think I need to. And I just want to remind everybody what Glenn Greenwald said. I said it in the last segment. I'll say it now. Even during the Cold War, extreme militarists recognized the most dangerous act would be driving Russia and China into a union, then declaring their united alliance the U.S. main enemy. Seemingly overnight, under Biden, the madness became D.C. consensus. Each time a new country joins NATO, it means the United States, nominally other countries, but really the United States, is extending a permanent, limitless vow to defend that new country in any war and to treat its wars as our own wars. Who does this benefit? The military-industrial complex in Wall Street? How does American lives improve by this? It's not. It's sucking. We're ending. Our empire's ending, like all empires end. We're overextending ourselves militarily. And if you don't think so, I can't believe I don't have that thing in where I show you all the military bases around the world for the United States. It's jaw-dropping because it's like 800 of them, and we know there's more because they're all secret. Anything you'd like to say about this NATO thing?
Well, we got 4 secret military bases guarded by the Kurds in northeastern Syria.
That's right.
Steal their oil, and we're lecturing about invading sovereign territory. It's a joke.
Yeah, the people who say, Putin's a thug because he just invaded other countries. We've been, first of all, right now we're occupying Syria. Which part? The oil part, and we just built a military base there. We just built 3 more in the Philippines this year. Did you know that? Yeah, it's nice. It's really nice. Max Blumenthal, we'll see you Friday and Saturday in Baltimore at Magooby's. Everybody check it out. Come go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets. Friday night, if you come to the Friday show, we'll meet you. We'll handshake you, take a picture and all that stuff. And Max will be there. And maybe even
Anya's going to be there
Anya
Friday.
Parampel will be there Friday. So maybe you get to meet her too. That'd be fantastic. So me, Steph, Max, Anya Parampel, we'll see you Friday and Saturday at Magooby's in Baltimore. Thanks for being our guest, Max.
Thanks, Jimmy.
Hey, come see us on tour. We'll be in Baltimore, San Francisco, Huntington Beach, Rosemont, and Chicago, Las Vegas, Salt Lake City, New York City, Pottstown, Pennsylvania, Stamford, Connecticut, and more, and St. Louis. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for all our tickets for all our shows.